think that interchange demonstrates the kind of really high-level discussion that Governor Burgum brings to these issues. I mean, he really will work through these issues and applies a real analytical approach to problem solving. I think that's really important for both sides of the aisle. I think that's something that people are going to very much appreciate about him. Federal law requires that, that on public lands there be multiple use. Recently, the BLM promulgated rules that violate that law very clearly, in my opinion. Do you support multiple use on federal lands? And I think I know you do, but I want you to express it for the record. And then I want you to tell us why it's so important that we have multiple use on public lands, not just in our state, but across this country.
Well, thank you, Senator Hoeven. The answer is obviously yes, but this is the public lands, and particularly when we talk about aspects of BLM, this is essential to local economies, and whether that's grazing rights that were part of this, whether it's recreation opportunities and access, whether it's timber, or whether it's oil and gas and mineral production that supports local economies and supports our country. This land was put away for the benefit, the use, and the enjoyment of the American people. Not every acre of federal land is a national park or a wilderness area. Some of those areas we have to absolutely protect for their precious stuff, but the rest of it, this is America's balance sheet. And I think every American during a presidential campaign finds out and gets pounded into their head that we've got $36 trillion in debt. We got all this debt, we all this debt. Oh, Americans, you owe part of this national debt, $36 trillion, this is on you. We never talk about the assets, and the assets are the land and minerals. This agency in Interior, the Department of Interior, has got close to 500 million acres of surface, 700 million acres of subsurface, and over 2 billion acres of offshore. 2 billion. That's the balance sheet of America. And if we were a company, they would look at us and say, wow, you are really restricting your balance sheet. And do you know what those assets are worth? We don't. I believe we ought to have a deep inventory of all the assets in America. We ought to understand what are our assets, 100 trillion, 200 trillion? We could be in great shape as a country. But then if you said, wow, if we have 200 trillion in assets just sitting there, but we restrict access, we don't cut a tree, we don't use them for recreation, and then we don't develop the minerals sustainably in a smart way, then we're getting super low return for the American people. It's our responsibility to get a return for the American people when we do that. When we did that in North Dakota, you started it as governor. And on the land board, we've got, in our little state, we got a $12 billion endowment for K-12 for about 125,000 kids. I mean, we got an endowment bigger than most universities in the country for our K-12 system because we learned how to utilize this stuff. And guess what? We still have among the cleanest air, cleanest water, greatest recreation in the nation. This is the time of abundance. We can do all of it.
Yeah, and so it really is about working with people in all these different uses. And that's true with working with in Indian country on the reservations as well, right? Empowering the local tribe, to decide, make those decisions about how they use the land and all the beneficial ways that they can, right?
Yes, well, in our state, I mean, MHA Nation, the Mandan, Hidatsa, Rikra, the 3 affiliated tribes, one of the great energy tribes in our country. These guys are, I say, the hardest job in America. It's not being a governor or a senator. The hardest job in America is a tribal chairman, because you get a whole nother layer of federal bureaucracy on top of you. And they show up at MHA and they say, hey, you guys are doing too much flaring. And then they say, well, we wouldn't be if you'd give us a permit to actually do a gas gathering line. So the same government that tells them they can't produce, that they're flaring too much, won't give them the permit to do the thing that we can do in the rest of the state. So they get constrained.
In addition to serving as Secretary of Interior, there's also the role as the leader of the National Energy Council, very important. Talk for a minute, for the time we have left, and you might even go over a little bit. The chairman's really a good guy. So talk about how you implement a game plan to achieve that goal of energy dominance that President Trump wants for this nation.
Well, again, I think don't want to get caught in making forward-looking statements because the council will be formed by an EO, but I think that the intention, as you can read in President Trump's public statements, it's very simple. He wants to cut red tape. He wants to have more affordable energy for us. He wants to sell energy to our friends and allies so they don't have to buy it from our adversaries. That's how we reduce tensions in the world. And then we've got to make sure that we're doing it in a smart way, because he talks all the time about clean air, clean water. So he's basically talking about the approach that we're talking about here at this committee. This committee will be deeply involved in helping set those policies, but it's an all of above, go get it done, and stop getting in the way of ourselves. And particularly with this AI, the AI battle, people don't understand that what's coming right now with AI revolution is going to happen during President Trump's term, where when we have generalized intelligence that we can manufacture, it's going to affect our ability to compete with every other power. And China they permitted more than 2 coal plants a week in the first half of 2023. And they're already the world's largest emitter. So we're competing against someone who's going to create more electricity, produce more AI, and could be how we lose the Cold War with them if we don't get it on. We have to do it here, and we're a country that believes in reclamation. We believe in following labor laws. China, child labor, no reclamation, no care about the environment. They're a tough competitor right now in terms of their ability to produce electricity. So we've got to get going, we've got to cut red tape, and we've got to realize that if you shut down U.S. energy production here, it doesn't help the global environment. That's a false trade-off. It doesn't help because somebody else produces it someplace else, less cleaner than we do.
Thank you.
Thank you.